Dear ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning to this side event of the SETPlan Conference 2020, presenting the Horizon Europe Partnership's Clean Energy Transition and Driving Urban Transition. With no time to lose, the goal of a climate-neutral Europe requires coordinated and integrated innovation to transform an energy system that fuels climate-neutral.
Today we are going to present these two Horizon Europe partnerships that we're looking forward to will enable member states, associated countries and European Union to align their funding programs, development and innovation. We want to maximize the impact of the research, demonstration and innovation that we are supporting, and we need to accelerate the uptake of cost-effective clean energy solutions.
The first partnership to be presented today will be the Clean Energy Transition Partnership, which is committed to accelerate the development and uptake of cost-effective clean energy technologies, as well as to co-develop solutions and role models for integrated energy systems, underpinning the energy transition and fostering energy system transformation. My name is Michael Hübner. I'm from the Austrian Ministry of Climate Action. And my colleague from the Swedish Energy Agency is Fredrik Lundström. We are going to be your moderators for this first part of the side event. And at this point, we want to give a warm welcome to all our honorable speakers. Before we start, we want to convey some housekeeping rules. Mute yourself and turn your cameras off while you are not speaking. This meeting is going to be recorded. Please be aware of that. So you should get now the agenda on the screen. The meeting is structured in the following way. After a number of welcoming speeches from the European Commission and from member states representatives, we will present the two partnerships. We will then have concluding remarks from the European Commission.
Now it is my pleasure to introduce our first speaker, who is one of our main contacts in the European Commission when we seek advice in the development of the Clean Energy Transition Partnership, Ms. Helen Cray, who is the head of unit of Clean Energy Transition at DG Research. Please, the digital floor is yours.
So good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much, first of all, to the organizer for this wonderful event where we could present something which is really important for us, because it is the first time that for the research innovation programs we have this type of cooperation in such an intensive way. The research innovation will have a very strong role for energy transition. First of all, it was the case before the crisis, but it's even increased by the crisis. Now, seeing that the green and digital transitions are the main objectives of this Commission, and that the Green Deal is asking for a clean energy transition, I would like to insist that the clean energy transition is not only, it's also societal, economic, and political. And it will require decisive actions in the next decades. And should begin immediately. We see citizens' engagement as a core principle underlying Horizon Europe. And we also see that the cooperation with member states will become more and more important. We have to do things together. Having said that, these two partnerships, and especially the clean energy transition, are part of Horizon Europe Cluster 5, which is one of the biggest and a very important one. And it is closely linked to the SETPlan. We have in the SETPlan a shared pan-European vision and an association with member states to increase the cooperation with member states. And of course, we had before the IRANET, but the IRANET they did very good things, and we are grateful for the cooperation with member states and associated countries. To go one step further and to institutionalize in another way the cooperation between national and European programs. Innovation is not only important through providing technologies improvement or breakthrough, it is also critical because it prepares for the future, and it is important that it does not only cover technology but also soft measures like analysis of patterns and behaviors, and then that will be maybe more developed by my colleague Philippe. For the clean energy transition itself, this is, well, the first thing I would like to say is to, I'm sorry, but there are works in my neighbor's house and they have chemical products spreading out. We are looking because we are lucky there is no noise for the moment. I would like to thank the authors and the organizer of this of the SRIA of the clean energy transition. It's an unprecedented co-design exercise with a huge number of stakeholders, organizations, and citizens. It's been an intensive work for months, and I'm very grateful for the involvement of people, especially those who will present this SRIA on the set. Very strong involvement also of the set plan community in the preparation of this partnership. Inclusive and open process, and we welcome that. Cooperation, co-creation are core, especially in the current time where we face such acute challenges. I have been looking just last days to the overall commitment from the member states, and I am really impressed to see that it is now above €500 million. This is enormous. We are also grateful for the involvement of member state representatives, and I'm very much looking forward for your presentation and discussion today. €500 million is something with which we can do, we can have an impact. Really high hopes that this partnership will be able to generate this strong impact, but also forge productive links with other parts of Horizon Europe. This is critical for us. Synergies inside the program, outside with other programs, is also a core element of this partnership. So with two legs, the cooperation between national and European, and when I say national, it could also be regional, and the synergies with other parts of Horizon Europe and, for instance, missions, but also with other programs. I would like to thank you for your attention and wish you very, very fruitful discussion. I'm very curious to see the outcome. And I wish you also a nice morning. For your attention.
Thank you very much, Hélène, for your kind introductory words, and also for your encouragement. I want to hand over to our next speaker, and that is Philippe Froissart. He's head of unit Future Urban and Mobility Systems, at DG Research. Hello, and very welcome, Philippe. Hello.
Okay. Excellent. So the usual hiccups of the video calls and conferences. So now I have to catch up with the time that I lost trying to test my microphone. So I have, as I said, when you could not hear me, a couple of points that I would like to raise. And regarding the first one is the role of urban transitions for the energy transition. And I would like to say that urban transitions need to adopt integrating systemic solutions, incorporating technological and cultural innovations to tackle complex and interdependent challenges. And similarly, when you look at energy transitions demand smarter, more integrated, flexible, zero carbon emission systems, fundamental changes on the way we produce, store, distribute, manage, and consume energy. And therefore, new business, new governance models, and social innovation fostering behavioral changes are necessary for both transition to minimize energy and resource demands and promote sustainability, resilience, affordability, well-being, and health. So by capitalizing on synergies among these two transitions, the urban transitions and the energy transitions, we would ensure that they are compatible, mutually reinforcing and addressing urban sustainability, resilience, and climate neutrality targets. The second point I'd like to make concerns the added value of addressing specific benefits of a place-based approach for the energy transition within the context of sustainable urban development. Place-based integrated urban and energy planning would enable the simultaneously address energy and mobility needs whilst promoting nature-based solutions and circular concepts, and unlock multiple environmental and socio-economic benefits such as quality of life, mitigated heat islands effects, carbon sequestration, active mobility, air quality, health, well-being, and social cohesion. The last point I'd like to make in my intervention concerns actually the expectations that the Commission has as regard driving urban transition, this new partnership that we have in Horizon Europe. Driving urban transition has developed a sound proposal focusing on transitions in a few critical sectors, namely energy through the positive energy districts, sustainable mobility and transport, and urban greening and circular use of resources. DUT, so-called for driving urban transition, can build on the long proven track record of JPI Urban Europe on sustainable urbanization. The European Commission is actually convinced that DUT has all the credentials to assist European cities in their systemic transition to sustainability, and as a consequence, help the European Union to meet its objectives of the European Green Deal, namely to have the European continent climate neutral by 2050. Similarly to what Hélène was saying in her previous intervention, I think we are also very happy and very pleased to see that so many member states committed to the budget that will be eventually implemented by DUT as a co-fund partnership. So 24 member states and associated countries so far have committed, and they have committed collectively to pledge around 300 million euros financial support to the partnership. So this is certainly a very good sign for the partnership. This is a good indication that there is commitment from the member states on supporting the implementation of DUT. And I would like to say that DUT also can be looked at an incubator of innovative solutions that could be tested as a response to the missions on climate neutral and smart cities that will also be part of Horizon Europe and that we are presently preparing. We are developing the implementation plan of that mission, and DUT should have a role to play in the implementation of that mission as well. So I think this is all I wanted to say is in my intervention, and I thank you very much for your for you listening to me.
Thank you very much, Felipe. Those were a great introduction to the role of urban transition, and thank you also for a very efficient statement now as we've getting started and hopefully can be more smooth on the technology here. We will move on, and I would like immediately to go now. We've heard two statements and welcoming statements here from DG Research. So now we will move over to DG Energy and Mr. Vincent Perutto, who is the head of unit for innovation, clean technologies and competitiveness at DG Energy. And we welcome you to please share with you your expectations. Share with us.
Thank you very much, and good morning, everyone. I would like to welcome you very warmly to this important event. I'm very pleased to see so many people today representing the whole energy value chain, from energy supply to energy demand. I think this is exactly how every energy-related event should be. You know that at the Commission, and in particular in DG Energy, we keep advocating for breaking the silos in which our current energy system is organized, and that means planning and organizing our energy system as a whole across various energy carriers, infrastructures, and consumption sectors by creating stronger links between all of them. And for this, the Commission has put forward a very clear strategy with 6 main recommendations. First, energy efficiency. Second, electrification of energy demand. Third, the promotion of renewable and low carbon fuels in hard to decarbonize sector. Fourth, improving the energy markets. Fifth, creating a more integrated infrastructure. And sixth, digitalization and innovation. We know it's an ambitious strategy, and we know that there are several challenges ahead of us. But I think these partnerships that we will hear about address most of these barriers. So I think they clearly break silos between the different sectors at different levels. And for this reason, I'm really looking forward to listening to the different speakers, hearing more about the promoters and the plans of these partnerships. And I'd like to wish everybody a very successful event. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Vincent. And we are very happy also to collaborate with you. So it's already 3 departments of the European Commission that we are co-developing this partnership with. And thank you very much for your statements. It is now a pleasure for me to introduce the next speaker, and which is the first one from the sides of the member states. And we will hear 2 statements now from 2 countries that have done some effort to coordinate also the others a bit in preparing the 2 partnerships as they stand now, and particularly Sweden has taken a leading role in developing the 2 partnerships. So we are very happy to collaborate, and I say welcome to Rémi Collessard from the Swedish Energy Agency.
Well, thank you very much for the introduction, Michael. And good morning, ladies and gentlemen, colleagues and friends of innovation from Europe and associated countries. I'm Rémi Collessard. I'm Deputy Director General and Head of Department for Research, Innovation and Business Development at the Swedish Energy Agency. And in leading the R&DI work at the Swedish Energy Agency, I'm fortunate to have clear national energy and climate policy targets adopted by our Parliament a few years ago. Those targets are based on the European energy policies, the pillars of the European energy policies, but also set clear targets for 100% renewable energy system, renewable energy electricity system by 2040, no net greenhouse gas emissions by 2045, and 50% energy efficiency by 2030. And to reach these ambitious but necessary targets, we need all the available instruments available to us, and research and innovation is one of such essential tools to reach those targets. So, but however, and regardless of national targets in different countries, this can be done or accomplished by one or a single actor. This has to be a teamwork, and we're really dependent on cross-border collaboration with both public and private collaborators. So we believe that strong European partnership between public funders on research and innovation, and with a clear and collaborative approach, is necessary both for the joint success as well as for the success with the national and regional transformation of our energy systems. A strong European collaboration should also be used as a platform for better synergies and efficiency in collaboration between Europe, for instance, through mission innovation and other relevant global networks. So together we can become more impactful as R&DI funders in the energy transition, and this is really necessary if we have to reach our necessary transition targets globally. So today's event is essential in that matters, and I really look forward for the rest of the discussion today. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Rémi, for those words. And it's good to hear that you stress the need for collaboration. I think I'm pretty fair to say that everyone that has been involved in the development of these partnerships this far know that it sure requires a good team and a lot of collaboration. But also, as any collaboration, it needs good leaders. And the next speaker represents such a leading and highly committed country and organization. Austria has been among the first movers and have taken a leading role both to coordinate and to develop these 2 partnerships. I'm therefore very happy to invite our next speaker, Mr. Michael Paula, as Head of Unit Energy and Environment Technologies at the Austrian Federal Ministry of Climate Action. Please, Michael.
Good morning to all of you. In my opening words, I'd like to elaborate on the role of RDI in achieving our national goals and the expectation which we place in our growing transnational collaboration. Europe is currently facing the combined challenge of the economic crisis in the current pandemic and the looming climate crisis. This is why our investments in economic recovery should lead to a game change in our work towards climate neutrality. Our implementation actions should be guided and accompanied by research and innovation in order to ensure our investments are future-proof and sustainable. The national energy and climate plans of the member states should be a manifestation of this approach, and we have tried to make this visible in our national energy and climate plan. In Austria, we see a need of transnational research and innovation collaboration in order to become more competitive. We also want to build and connect our innovation ecosystems across cities and European regions, especially when it comes to building the integrated urban and regional energy systems which are required for the success of the energy transition. We have been eager to share our experience in mission-oriented R&I innovation programs by actively supporting European R&I funding networks like the Aeronets or joint programming platforms. We have put forward resources to support the creation of the joint programming platform Smart Energy Systems and the GPI Urban Europe, which both have become important low threshold entry point for our national researchers and companies in their first step towards forming transnational consortia. They have helped them to enter into collaboration across national borders within our European home market. We want to continue this successful path and strongly believe that two new co-funded partnerships will enable us to join forces within Horizon Europe, including the new cities mission, and to demonstrate the power of collaboration and implementation in the European research area. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Michael, for conveying this message from Austria, and particularly also thank you for your commitment and giving the room for doing all this work on the international level, which is not always easy to provide the resources for this, but it's so important that we have the support of our organizations in order to do all this work. It is a special pleasure now for me to introduce our last speaker from the welcoming session, which is the representative of our host country of this CETP Conference 2020. Unfortunately, we cannot be in Berlin in person and physically as originally planned, but anyway, you are the host of this CETP Conference 2020. Welcome, Germany. Welcome, Mr. Langen.
Thank you very much. Yes, indeed. I would love to have you here all in Berlin so that we could meet here. There will be another time and possibility, hopefully next year, to meet again. And I'm very grateful to Austria and Sweden, the moderators, which made so much contributions to this organization of this event, to the side event. And the energy transition for Germany is really a very thing which is a leading agenda for our economy. I remember 20 years ago when I started here in the Federal Ministry, there was a share of 5% of renewable energy in the electricity market. And I think this year we will roughly have 50% electricity share of renewable energies. So this is something, and let me say, change is possible in the electricity market and also in the things we are planning to have in buildings, mobility, and other areas which we are working on. And so this is there's a need, given the ambitious targets, to accelerate development and via innovative technologies and bring them to the market. That is the issue we have to do via cost cutting and having still energy security and more efficiency. And this is not only technological driven. We also need change in society, in behavior, in consumer behavior. So we have to convince people. We have to come up with good ideas, discuss the things, and bring good solutions. And to do this is essential that I think no single country can do this alone, but we have to do is as we do it today in close cooperation in the European countries. And I think this European approach will help us to even find better solutions. Germany has a strong capacity in technology research and innovation. There is a need for even more ambitious transition in the field of climate, mobility, and this is challenging. And therefore, we have to make use of R&D, close cooperation, which will facilitate and where we will benefit when there is a benefit for all partners involved in Germany and in Europe. The transitional competences we are bundling here in this process, and there's a cooperation of leading actors, and this is a way to meet political and societal targets faster for prosperity and stable labor markets in Germany as well as for Europe, an issue which we will discuss when hopefully we all together will come out the COVID-19 crisis next year. And I'm convinced that the R&E and the new technologies we are developing will help us with this. Since this is called a side event, there must be some other event around, and this is the SETPlan conference, which will start at 1:30, and I will be very happy this jointly organized conference of European Commission and Germany to meet you again after this event at 1:30. I see you then. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Mr. Langen. That was encouraging to hear. Of course, we are very happy to know that we have a big, important economy and with a lot of competence and skill that there are in Germany, and we have you on board as a committed partner. That is great. Although I must agree, we would, of course, have loved to be in Germany right now, but we're doing our best to connect here digitally, and it's great that we can do that. So I think we are getting a little bit more warm now. It seems like we're moving forward, and we've now heard a set of welcoming statements. And I think what it's a little bit both as a marathon, but also as a sprint at the same time. We have little time, but there's a lot we want to achieve, and it's the same with the agenda today. So now that we've had a little bit of flavors of different perspectives of what we can expect from these partnerships and what we want to achieve, we will now move over to the next session where we will go a little bit more into looking to the structures of these partnerships, how they have developed this far and how we will work on them. And the first presentation will be about the Clean Energy Transition Partnership. And We will hear particularly about the fresh strategic research and innovation agenda that was finalized as late as last week on Friday. And I want to introduce two speakers that will make this presentation. First of all, Lisa Lundmark from the Swedish Energy Agency, who will talk about the road, what has happened, how the Clean Energy Transition Partnership has shaped this last year, and a little bit on the overview how it looked. And then Michael Hibner from Austria, he will present the strategic research and innovation agenda a little bit more in detail and give us a little bit insight on how does the challenges look and how is it structured. So with those words, I hand over to you, Lisa and Michael.
Thank you, Fredrik. We'll take the next slide at once, I think. So after 1 year of working on the Clean Energy Transition Partnership and the Strategic Research and Innovation agenda for it, we are very happy to be able to present this for you today. And we would like to thank everyone who has taken part of and supported this joint effort, contributing with their time, knowledge, and experience. And especially thanking the core team, which are presented here on the slide. And we would also like to thank the European Commission colleagues from both DG Research and DG Energy for their input and their support. Moving on to the next slide. The Clean Energy Transition Partnership is formed as a multilateral strategic partnership between national and regional research, development and innovation programs in member states and associated countries. However, the partnership finds itself in a broader global and European policy context with overarching objectives and policy initiatives to which the partnership activities will contribute. We have the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, which are in themselves a call for action. And we have identified 4 of those SDGs as particularly relevant to our work. SDG number 7, affordable, reliable, sustainable and clean energy for all. But also number 9, which aims to build resilient infrastructure and to promote inclusive sustainable industrialization and foster innovation. Number 13, that takes urgent action to combat climate change and its impacts, and also SDG number 7, to make cities and settlements inclusive, safe, resilient and sustainable. On the European level, we also have a very broad policy framework working towards the ambition of climate neutrality by 2050. This is supported by a revision of legislation as well as policy initiatives, including the European Commission communications on a clean planet for all, and of course, as mentioned, the European Green Deal, which is followed by several strategies that has been presented during 2020, and where more are to follow, of course, in the coming years. You see a number of them here. And moving on, as mentioned also earlier in the statements of the introduction speakers, we have the national energy and climate plans of member states, which are a very important basis for us and for our work. And as a research and innovation program partnership, this also follows the development of a new European research area proposed by the European Commission. And the new era will support the Green Deal with increased focus on green and digital transition. We are, of course, also working within the framework of the Strategic Energy Technology Plan, the SET plan. Also, there will be challenges that we address. The challenges we address are global, and there will be opportunities under the partnership to seek international collaboration. And this may be bilaterally with other countries inside and outside of Europe, or through international organizations such as the International Energy Agency or Mission Innovation, also mentioned earlier. Next slide, please. So, as Mrs. Gray also mentioned earlier, we are very glad to see that there is great interest in this partnership from member states and associated countries. As of today, 28 countries and some specific regions within those countries have indicated their interest to participate and allocate budget to the partnership. And as of 16th of November, their collective indicated budget contribution is around 500 million euro for the duration of the partnership. And we are also very glad to see that the European Commission is partnering with us on this clean energy transition endeavor. So moving along to the SRIA. Next slide, please. Next slide, Michael. Yes, thank you very much. The agenda has received endorsement from all interested countries, and it presents the vision, objectives, and the expected impacts for the partnership and the agenda. It provides impact pathways for reaching the expected impacts, and it also provides implementation principles for the agenda. And the core of the agenda is the 8 overarching RDI challenges for the implementation of the partnership. The annexes of the agenda also provide a first indication on relations to and interfaces with different EU programs and other partnerships under Horizon Europe. It also gives an overview of where the challenges contribute to the broader policy context, both globally and at European level. And with that, I would like to hand over back to Mr. Schiedner, who will give a more in-depth description on the work that has been done and the challenges of the agenda. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Lisa. And I will try, on the one hand side, to give you really a clear insight what is the SRIA and what does it mean. And on the other hand side, I will try to not go into too much detail in order to save some time, as unfortunately we have used too much time so far, and we want to keep some time reserved for our second partnership, the Driving Urban Transition. So the first message, very brief, is we have run a very broad process since beginning of the year to involve really all the set plan initiatives and working groups and all the areas to contribute to the writing of the SRIA. At the end of the process, it was, of course, about the representatives from member states, program owners and program managers to work with this material and to write the final SRIA and decide what should be the focus in the SRIA and how we would phrase it. We have used a paper that we call the summary paper of the stakeholder group dialogues. You can see it here and you can download it online, and you can also see that it summarizes 5 input papers that have been developed by more than 200 experts from the set plan scene that represented stakeholder groups. So there were even way more experts behind that had already pre-discussed in the different working groups and in the areas. So all the material that has been prepared, all the input papers, the summary input paper and everything is available on our joint working platform, and the summary input paper, the summary paper of the dialogues is also be published, and you can see in the chat how to download it. The heart, let's see, of the strategic research and innovation agenda for the Clean Energy Transition Partnership is a number of challenges that we call the Clean Energy Transition Partnership challenges. And the idea of these challenges is the following. What we want to achieve with the SRIA is to provide guidance and compass for the next 10 years for this partnership of member states program that will work together. That, of course, means that we cannot foresee everything that will happen in the next 10 years. So we had to be, on the one hand side, a little bit open, and we also consider the SRIA as a document that will be updated from time to time as needed, because new challenges might come up that we don't foresee at the moment. The SRIA is going to be the keystone also for the implementation of the Clean Energy Transition Partnership. It follows a challenge-driven approach. That was a task that we have given ourselves. And of course, it's not meant as the European agenda. It's focusing on the contribution that multilateral program collaboration from member states wants to make to the Horizon program framework as such. There are a number of other initiatives around. There's the framework program itself, and this SRIA is meant as a guidance for the member states collaboration. So the portfolio of challenges that have been outlined in the SRIA had the rationale on the one hand side to follow a reason, or to provide a reasonable number of challenges, because it is meant also to provide the structure for the implementation of the Clean Energy Transition Partnership. So the idea is basically that the upcoming, there will be a number of joint programming initiatives that will take on these challenges. And therefore, we didn't want to come up with 15 or 20, but with a handful, let's say. It's meant to provide structure, but not strong borderlines. So it's meant that these challenges that we have outlined are in very much in synergy with each other, and the interlinks between them will be a part of a lively discussion also during the implementation of this SRIA in the Clean Energy Transition Partnership. So it's not meant to create new silos, but to provide a structure along which we can collaborate, and the interlinks and the synergies between them are very important and will be part of the implementation. There has been a request from our first discussions in January to consider, on the one hand side, enabling technologies in the SRIA, but on the other hand side, also system integration aspects to transit the energy systems in Europe. So I will not go into the very details of all the challenges, but provide you the following overview. We have structured it in a way, on the left-hand side in green, you see the challenges that are more focusing on enabling technologies. So aspects that are leading here is the question of enhancement and cost reduction and upscaling of technologies, advanced industrial manufacturing concepts, value chain, and circularity for those technologies. And on the right-hand side, you see the more system integration challenges, which are meant to concentrate on aspects like how to bring the technologies together, to look for their interoperability, to also touch and integrate aspects like how do we structure the marketplaces in the future for different kinds of energy, for the different technologies and services? How can we make sure that all the participants in the value chain are respected and can have their participation in the value chain? How does the framework need to look like? R&D can make a contribution to finding the best solutions. And also to the question, how do the pathways for the transition look like, and how do we care that the technologies at the end are usable and user-friendly and are meeting the needs of the ones that are intended to use these technologies in the future? That will be facility and infrastructure providers, that will be customers, that will be citizens, and so on. So the structure of the challenges has come out as the following. The challenge number one as some kind of overarching challenge, and also a very important link to the European level, as we see always also from the implementation working plan forward, that we have to relate very much on what is happening here on the European level. That's about developing and implementing the optimized integrated European net zero emission energy system. So at the end, all the systems, all the technologies have to come together to a European system, and the framework has to be right, the technologies have to speak to each other, energy has to be exchanged in different forms. That's the ultimate goal. On the left-hand side, we see now 3 challenges that have been formulated around technologies. The first one is enhanced zero-emission power technologies or renewable power technologies. That's a question that we still have to work on. So to improve and develop the technologies that can produce power from renewables and zero carbon technologies. The second one is about 3 very important topics, and so it's really becoming a huge and important challenge to look on. That is, on the one hand side, storage technologies, which will help to provide flexibility in the energy systems. Renewable fuels, which are also a very important interlink between the different energy vectors, and carbon capture and use, and carbon capture and sequestration, which are providing additional options, particularly for the hard to decarbonize sectors, but also for fuels and other technologies. And the last technology-oriented challenge that we have formulated is a challenge on efficient zero-emission heating and cooling solutions. It's very clear that heating is a particular energy field for a number of countries in Europe, which is using a huge part of the energy that is consumed in Europe. But also cooling is important for other countries and is becoming more and more important as we are facing temperature changes in our environment. Then summarizing very quickly on the right-hand side, you see we have formulated 3 challenges concentrating on integrating the technologies into energy systems. One is concentrating on regional energy systems. So how do things like positive energy districts, energy communities, industrial sites, how does everything come together on a regional level? Many things can happen and will happen on a regional level, particularly when it is about cross-sector integration. The second challenge we formulated is integrated industrial energy systems. Industry is needing renewable energy on the one hand side, on their sites. They need to integrate these kind of energy in their processes, and we need to integrate the industrial sites in the overall system, as well on the regional level as also on the global energy system level. And the third one we have formulated here is a challenge on integrating technologies in the built environment. This is, if you want, one of the key areas where you can start implementing renewable technology and renewable energy and the renewable technologies in the buildings, in the end use directly to the customers. Finally, a number of cross-cutting dimension has been identified already in the input papers, and also in the SRIA itself. We have decided to summarize these cross-cutting dimensions in one chapter in order to not have to repeat those things in each of the challenges again and again. Important message of the graph that you see on the right-hand side on the bottom of the slide is in the final feedback that we got from the countries, which we were very thankful for. Thanks a lot for your contributions. A lot of important and interesting input has been delivered in this final round. And all the countries that were interested have endorsed the strategic research agenda. So we have reached endorsement from all the countries and received some more input. And the outcome of this is that we see that the challenges that we have formulated with the editors and publishers group, which had representatives from all interested countries, was that it came out in a way that all these challenges are really seen as equally relevant from all the countries that want to participate. So in that sense, I think we were successful in providing a strategic research agenda that gives a lot of buy-in for all the ones that want to participate and which can really do a good job as the keystone for the implementation. The Clean Energy Transition Partnership will live in a European and Horizon Europe ecosystem. A number of initiatives and partnerships is around that we will have to work together. The dialogue with these partnerships and initiatives has already started. We had a first round with them and identified the most important synergies and interfaces. And those interfaces will be developed during the implementation of the Clean Energy Transition Partnership. They will be important as the interlinkages between the different challenges. This will be active and important interfaces to the environment that we are working in. And we have also received feedback from many countries that they are very interested also to broaden the collaboration beyond Europe. So we will try also to use our experiences that we have in different areas to connect to other global initiatives like the Mission Innovation, the IATCPs, or also maybe organizations like IRENA, if you have seen the message in the chat. So there are even more ideas how to connect the worlds. Very last point, how do we want to move on? We were coming from the set plan stakeholder groups dialogue, which gave us a lot of important and valuable input. We had a discussion among the countries, in the countries dialogue, to develop the strategic research and innovation agenda, which we are happy to present today. As you've seen from the chat, you can download the document from the internet, and this is our big outcome from this huge process that we had so far. But of course, we want to keep the momentum and we want to move on. And the next step will be, and this is also an invitation to all the program owners and program managers and to all the airnets that are out there, we will organize now in the coming weeks a program dialogue. We don't want to talk about the scientific content anymore. That has already been done and the SRIA is there. What we want to learn from this program dialogue is which interesting elements, structures, programming formats, experiences have been developed and made in the past years that we want to use and that we can benefit from in the implementation of the Clean Energy Transition Partnership. We want to learn how did airnets efficiently organize their calls? How did they organize accompanying measures to reach out to the stakeholder groups that need to be involved in the certain area of research and development and innovation? How did you manage to connect the different innovation ecosystems with additional measures, and so on and so on? So we will invite you very soon to present the most important elements that you think that we can use from the airnets, but also we will ask all the national programs, are there any formats that you have been developing in your national programs that you think could or should play a role in the implementation of the Clean Energy Transition Partnership and that we can make use of? So that will be the next phase. And I'm very happy that we have a number of committed countries represented today in a short panel discussion that we want to organize now, and to introduce this and to hear the voices of the supporting partners, the many supporting partners that have contributed to the SRIA and that will contribute to implementation of the Clean Energy Transition Partnership. For this, I hand over to Frederick Lundström to introduce us in this panel discussion.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you very much. Now, I think all of us have gotten a better picture of what the Clean Energy Transition Partnership looks like this far. Of course, there's a lot of work. This is only the beginning that we are at. As it is a lot of information to digest, this panel will be used, of course, then to help us digest it a little bit. We have invited these panelists to give some reflections on the SRIA and on the Clean Energy Transition Partnership structure. We will ask what strategic targets or which challenges of the SRIA that they consider of particular importance and interest for their country. Furthermore, we will also ask if they're ready to engage in a specific leading role in one of the challenges, and also some parts on what impacts they expect, both on the research and development and innovation programs they run, but also on the communities that they support. So, having that said, let's move directly over into the next sprint and listen to the panelists. I give the word again to you, Michael, so you can introduce to us the first panelist.
Thank you very much, Felix. So what I have to mention at the beginning is that we have really a time problem meanwhile. Nevertheless, we are so happy to hear so many voices, and we kindly ask you please to make your statements as concise and as short as possible. We intentionally had planned to do 3 rounds of discussion, and we will squeeze that now into 2 rounds because we need to save time. I kindly ask all the speakers of the panel now to switch on their videos so that we can see you, even if you are not talking at the moment, but we want to have the whole panel visible if possible. And I hope that the bandwidth of all the participants will also help with this. To our all help, also here you have this little moving bars on the very bottom of this slide, and I start them to move now, and this is the time that we have originally foreseen for the 3 rounds, which will now be 2 rounds of questions just for an orientation of ourselves. Please, let's keep as short as possible. The first question we want you to reflect on is, what do you think about the challenges that have been formulated in the Strategic Research and Innovation Agenda? Which of them do you consider particularly important for your country? And maybe also, is there already an attempt where you think, okay, we could be maybe contributing a lot to implementing one of those challenges that have been formulated, and maybe even take a lead on one of them? So having this said, I welcome our first panelist, that is Martine Rosa-Mollenschott. She is head of Cluster for Energy Innovation in the Dutch Ministry of Economic Affairs and Climate. Please, Martine, what are the thoughts from your side on the challenges? What do you think is important for your country?
Yes, good morning, everyone. Thank you, Michael. I hope everyone can hear me. Let me start first by saying that we very much agree with the topics and all the challenges described in the strategic R&I agenda and the structure that has been laid down. And we're very committed to making the execution of this agenda and the Clean Energy Transition Partnership a joint success. It's very much in line with our own national mission-oriented approach and mission-driven multi-annual innovation programs. But one challenge I want to highlight specifically for the Netherlands, and that is the one on heating and cooling. And the Netherlands is willing to lead this challenge because the heat transition for us is key to the energy transition. In the Netherlands, 50% of our final energy consumed is for heating, and only 6% of the sources is from renewable sources. So there's a big challenge there and a transition that we need to focus on. We have very ambitious targets. In 2030, we want to convert 3 million residents from natural gas to other climate neutral sources. And in 2050, we want to have converted them all. So that's a huge thing to work on, and it doesn't only require technology, but also a social transition as well. And on top of that, and I think we can link that even more that we are doing today, is a challenge for the heat-intensive industry that also needs to make the transition. And there are opportunities that we need to seize to link the industry transition with the residential heat transition. The use of waste heat, for example, I want to mention. So that also underlines the importance of the system integration that was mentioned in the structure of the SRIA. And the thermal storage for the winter season is one of the biggest challenge in this that I want to mention. And finally, I would like to state that I think it's important for the execution to build upon the already existing and well-functioning networks that we've seen today, like Helene mentioned as well, the AeroNets. And for the heating and cooling challenge, that means that we need to strongly involve the Geothermica network to help kickstart the work in the Clean Energy Transition Partnership. I will leave it at that. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Martine Rosa, and also thanks for the clear commitment. While I have to say at the same time to all the other countries, what we are saying here is not that this is already a closed shop. We just want to make you know that there are already some commitments, and we would love to hear even more also from the ones that maybe have not been so centrally engaged in the SRIA writing. So we need you, everyone.
Thank you, Michael. Yes, we need all of you, and I'm sure many of you listening, we will work together on this, so this is important. For the next panelist, Jarmo Heinonen, Senior Director for Biocircular Economy and Cleantech, we also need you. So the same question goes to you and your thoughts about the SRIA and what strategic targets and which parts of this work you think is in particular interest. Please, Jarmo.
Thank you, and hello everyone. Hopefully you hear me.
Yes, we hear you very good.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. Yes, definitely. Yeah, we are all meeting the climate change and energy transition challenges, and we need this kind of ambitious partnerships, transnational cooperation, and collaboration. Finland has set pretty ambitious targets related to carbon neutrality. The target is to be the carbon neutral by 2035. And around a year ago, the Finnish industry sector started together with ministries and government to create low carbon roadmaps towards the carbon neutrality. And now already several industry sectors have published this kind of low carbon roadmaps. And this Clean Energy Transition Partnership, SRIA and vision, objectives, challenges, what has been now here presented, and we have been part of creating that, definitely is supporting our Finnish national energy and climate strategy. All the challenges are really interesting, and we are willing to be part of those. But maybe one of those are really close of our heart, and that's the integrated industrial energy systems. And maybe we could even take the leading role there in that challenge. But the Finnish industry and energy sector is widely integrated already, and a couple, and there's actually long tradition related to that. For example, related to combined heat and power production, heat is provided for industry district heating, or actually also in another way that industry creating surplus heat or electricity, it's used by the municipalities and so on. So there is a long tradition in this area in Finland. But now related to this challenge, of course, all the industry meet climate and carbon neutral targets, and it means that it requires a green electrification based on renewables and integration with energy systems. And maybe the most hottest topic, or how I see at the moment, is the renewable hydrogen. And I think it provides huge opportunities for industries to replace fossil based feedstocks, but create really the energy storages, flexibility, but also brings opportunity to capture CO2 and create that way the new products, e-products through the power to X, synthetic fuels, chemicals, and so on. So that's from Finnish point of view.
Thank you very much, Jarmo. And I have seen in the chat, and I just want to comment very briefly, ETIP, renewable heating and cooling, should be involved. I didn't say it so clearly, but it was on the slides. All the ETIPs have been contributing, all the European technology and innovation partners platforms have been contributing to the SRIA writing already. And one who knows that very well also is our dear colleague Gunter Siddiqui from Switzerland, who has done a great job in contributing to this SRIA writing. And also a country, Switzerland, very active and a very good example for the associated countries that are also very committed to participate and to collaborate here. Gunter, your reflections on how it came out at the end with the SRIA.
Yeah, thank you very much, Michael. So I'm Gunter Siddiqui, I'm with the Swiss Federal Office of Energy, and I would like to first state that we really welcome that opportunity to participate in the development of the CETP and obviously also in the SRIA. And we very much like the idea that we have very clearly defined roles and responsibilities when it comes to the entire partnership. Obviously, climate and energy policies of Switzerland are extremely well aligned with those of our European partners. And as in the past, you know, Switzerland is a committed partner, is a reliable partner, and we are really happy to look forward to working in a mutually beneficial way with our European partners in the CETP. And it's to that effect, really, that we have committed, or that we intend to commit 35 million euros towards that partnership, as well as, and that obviously depends on a few factors, contributing to the CETPs. So for us, all the challenges are really quite relevant, some a little bit more than others. But as you might know from the past, Switzerland has been contributing to the AeroNets. We've led the solar, or we lead the solar AeroNet. We have been part of the core management teams in a number of renewable energy technology AeroNets, also in the smart energy systems AeroNets. And as of more recent, we've become a little bit more active in the CCUS Act AeroNet. So we, and again, this would mirror the statements of Martin, we really see that the AeroNets are an extremely useful vehicle that we need to carry over into the CETP. Now, for us, the fact that we also subscribe to climate neutrality by 2050, we are beginning to realize that we need negative emissions. So those challenges that not only drive towards zero emission, but also those challenges that give us opportunities to produce or make available negative emissions will be quite important. So we're really willing to step up to the plate and contribute in leadership roles to the various transition initiatives, but we also need to first negotiate and finalize the way we associate to the Horizon Europe. That's all, Michael. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much, Gunter. That's great to hear your commitment, and also that you have strong actions that you need to go ahead with in relation to the climate challenge. We are really happy to have you on board, and you have been contributing a lot to this work. And we're looking forward to the further collaboration. Now we move over to the next panelist from our Italian partners. I would like to invite, please, Riccardo Bassosa from the MUR, and he's the delegate in the Set Plan Steering Committee. We'd like to hear your thoughts on the CETP and the SRIA, please.
Thank you, Friedrich. All the clean energy transition partnership challenges as outlined at the SRIA are key and must be addressed in a systemic perspective. Nevertheless, considering both the potentialities of the national research system as well as the needs to step up research and innovation, we would focus two challenges where Italy could play a leading role to support energy transition, but also with a view to our role in the Euro-Mediterranean area. The first is a challenge 2, zero-emission power technology. In our National Energy Climate Plan, electrification of the final uses is indicated as a relevant transition trajectory to curb down emissions. To support this objective, we need to invest in cost-effective renewable energy power technologies, new materials, components, smart grids, integration technologies. Italy has relevant capabilities in terms of research and innovation. An innovative photovoltaic industrial facility in Sicily has just kicked off. We are investing on marine offshore energy technology specific to the Mediterranean basin. Geothermal energy plants with total reinjection of fluids are being developed. Another priority is challenge 7, building integration. Building renovation and energy retrofitting are strategic challenges for the energy transition and key priorities for Italy. We must develop solutions that apply to the existing building stock and in particularly to historical buildings where Italy and all Europe has a prominent interest. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Riccardo, also for this interesting statement, highlighting also some very important aspects. I have now, as the next speaker on our list, Eva Kocinska-Lange. She's Director of Business and Science Poland. And yeah, so how does it look from a Polish perspective, what we have achieved here together? And thanks also for your contributions from your country.
I'm very happy to be part of this this panel and to give a Polish voice to it. Indeed, we were very much looking forward to joining this this partnership, and Poland fully supports the vision and the objectives of the agenda. You know, it's actually obvious that the whole world needs environmental friendly and low emission and zero emission even technologies, and we as a Poland as a country with some history behind, we are very determined to actually reduce emissions and modernize our economy in a sustainable manner. So this partnership is very much in line. And what's important for us are the renewable energy with special emphasis on offshore wind. This is something we want to develop in next years. And we want to modernize, as I said, our energy system. And the idea is basically to have by 2030 at least 1/3 production coming from renewables, which is a groundbreaking actually endeavor, taking into account our current energy mix. The challenges, all challenges of the strategic research and innovation agenda are very relevant to our actually also national objectives and vision. So it's actually impossible to say which one is the most important one. We have a lot to do in all of them. And they are, as I said, in line with what we are working on at the moment, which is the energy policy of Poland until 2040, which is the National Plan for Energy and Climate for 2021-2030, and a lot of different national and research innovation programs that are under development at the moment. Of course, we have a rather difficult starting point, so it's a lot of challenging domestic conditions, structure of the economy mix, and so on. So we have to take that into account, and we have to pay a special attention to the needs of the regions and citizens that require really the reforms the most. So I would say that that number 8 is also quite important for us to have also the social aspects on board, and to actually work also on the change of the behavior and the consumers' approach that was already mentioned in the welcoming session. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much. This is it's great to hear all the voices from different countries and regions. This is really a good thing. We move on, and the next speaker or panelist is Head of Unit of Strategy in the Energy Department and International Cooperation at the Ministry of Industry and Trade at the Czech Republic, Thomas Smekal. I see also in the chat you said you had some problems with your webcam, so maybe we cannot see you, but we are very curious to hear what your views and your thoughts on the SRIA and the CETP is. Please, Thomas.
Yep, so good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for the word, and thank you very much for having me. I will try to be as concise as possible. So from the point of view of Czech Republic, I might say that we are also fully committed to the CETP. We already allocated some funding to it. Maybe to say a few words from our perspective about the challenges which I highlighted in SRIA. Of course, if it was mentioned already, it's kind of difficult to say which are more important, which are less. We think it's most of them are very much essential. Of course, we should even try to maybe highlight that we like to have some kind of a bottom-up approach. So we don't want to. Of course, it's important to set some challenges, but of course, we would also wait which kind of challenges would be picked up by our research institution and academia as such. And maybe we highlighted even some topics which are important when we were preparing the input paper. I think that already one chart was shown when the country specified the priorities. So I think in those priorities, we would very much be ready to have some lead if needed. And maybe to be slightly more practical or concrete, we think that very important is those enabling and cross-cutting technologies. So one of the challenges is integrated energy or integrated regional energy systems. So we think that smart grids but of course local energy systems are very important. And maybe just to say, even Martin was already saying heating and cooling and specifically bioenergy is a big topic for us. So I think that if I see some lead, for example, from part of the Czech Republic, I think it would be either in heating and cooling and bioenergy, maybe specifically, or in the integrated and smart energy infrastructure and digitalization of the infrastructure. So that's for me, very briefly. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Thomas. Very good to have you on board here, and yeah, we are really looking forward for the collaboration also with the Czech Republic. Our last speaker in the panel is Rune Waller. He's director of the Department of Energy Research at the Research Council of Norway, and yeah, interesting to hear from another Nordic country your perspectives on the challenges that have been formulated.
Yes, thank you, Mikael, and good morning to you all. Can you hear me well?
Very well.
Good. Yes, the CETP is an important partnership for Norway to follow up our R&D priorities in the clean energy transition. We expect to be active partners within several areas and to continue our leading role within CCUS, where we today are coordinating the Aeronet ACT Act, as Günther previously mentioned. We are grateful for the good and long-lasting cooperation that now has resulted in this SRIA, and we would also like to especially thank Austria and Sweden, who have put a lot of effort into this, which has become a very good document. We welcome your invitation, Michael, just now to the discussion on how to have a lean and efficient governance of CETP. And in addition to this, I would like to make some short remarks on the hydrogen and fuel challenge. we think that the development and implementation of hydrogen and hydrogen-based fuels will not only enable Europe to solve important parts of the climate challenge. Hydrogen is also an important opportunity to create globally competitive industries. We strongly believe that while green hydrogen from renewable electricity is the long-term solution, blue hydrogen from natural gas with CO2 storage will enable Europe to ramp up supply in time to meet the targets. Longship, the full-scale CCS project that now is being realized in Norway, can be a contribution to climate mitigation in Europe. It has already attracted international industrial partners, which is crucial for the success and wider deployment of this technology. And hydrogen will be an important starting point for a lot of different fuels and will substitute fossils in many sectors. We appreciate that the SRIA keeps a broad approach both to fuels and applications. We strongly believe that we will need a variety of solutions and that sustainability and the climate mitigation effects should always be the benchmarks to measure these solutions by. Okay, I think that's it.
Thank you very, very much. Thank you for this interesting round. I think it represents hopefully a little bit the different perspective, and it shows the broad variety of countries and views. So we are different and we work together for a unique European energy system. As we have used nearly all of our time, and we also have to save some time, you get challenged now. We put the two last questions together and you only have one sentence to say. What do you think is the most important aspect that you expect from the working together in this partnership for your program and or for your RDI community? Choose only one aspect, highlight the most important, and be very brief so that we can hand over to the Thriving Urban Transition Partnership and leave some time for their presentation and discussion. Thank you very much for your contributions and for your understanding. We start in the order, or we go in the order that we have on the slide. Martina Rosa is going to start, please.
Yeah, the thing that I would like to mention then is that we expect a more integral approach of the CETP compared to the airnets that we just mentioned, that will contribute to an outlook that will go much further beyond the research silos and will help deliver more crossovers with impact. I think that's the most important one that I want to mention for now.
Thank you very much. Jarmo, you're the next.
Thank you. We are actually already updating our national program strategies related to EU collaboration, and we wish that through our and expect that through our programs we can create new initiatives together with European partners, and especially that our industry is active role in creating partnerships. And thank you.
Thank you, Jarmo. Gunther?
Thanks. I'll be real quick. So this very much the challenge-driven approach to programming and executing calls, that for us is essential because this can only be solved at the European scale. And for sure, the Swiss RDNI community is ready to do its bit and strengthen those ties. So I think we better get on with it. It's going to be good. Thanks.
Thank you, Gunther. Eva?
Yeah, it is a challenge in itself to have it in one sentence, but actually we expect mostly an inspiration for our own programs as well, and it's already happening at the moment actually, and also the synergies between different initiatives on European level, international level, in order to really make a difference and change the energy systems. And because of that, we expect that it will be really possible to invest in a lot of different solutions and in general to lower the emission as much as possible. Thank you.
Thanks, Eva. Ricardo. from Italy, what is most important to your community or to your programs from working together? Ricardo, we don't hear you. So we go to Thomas briefly before we take Ricardo back and until he has solved his speaker problem. Thomas?
Yeah, thank you. So if I would to just sum up in one sentence or two, I think it's kind of a follow-up what Martin said, that I think that we think that one of the main value added is kind of a holistic approach, which would tie it all together. I think this is very important. And maybe on top of some, because I think that the outcome would be some very concrete and important research results. So that's what it's all about. But on top of that, we think that it's highly important for us the alignment of priorities, which we use even in the way how we construct our programs of research support, and of course creating or enhancing the existing network of collaboration on EU level. So that was very brief from my side. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Rune, last view on what will be important for your programs and your networks, your stakeholders.
Okay, thank you. Okay, well, from the Horizon 2020, we see that these partnerships are very important. So we look forward to this CETP to be an important platform for both industry and researchers. Sorry, collaboration. It's maybe a paradox that it comes from an associated country, but for us, the European collaboration is vital to have efficiency within the research funding, and to have more researchers and more industry to cooperate with. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Rune. Thank you, all the speakers of the panel. At the end, we will have technologies on European and global markets. Each of our companies in our countries will be happy to contribute to this value chain, I think, and see Europe at least, or the world, as their future markets, and that's what we want to contribute to. Thank you all for taking on this challenge. Sorry, Ricardo, that it doesn't work for the moment for you, but we have a lot of feedback. Our request or proposal would be if you could be so kind to maybe write a short statement in the chat, so that at least we have your statement as well. Thank you everyone to contribute to this session. Thank you very much, and we are handing over to the Driving Urban Transition Partnership. Hans-Günther Schwarz will be your moderator, if I manage to change the slide. Yes, here he is. Yes. And goodbye from my side.
Michael. Thank you very much, and Henrik. It's my pleasure now to continue with our round of presentations by opening the floor for Margit Noll. Margit is the chair of the management board of the Joint Programming Initiative Urban Europe. She's also played a very central role in bringing together the thematic proposal for the Driving Urban Transitions Partnership, working together closely with our lead units at the European Commission. She has also worked tirelessly to include all interested European countries into the large consortium which has now formed to participate in the partnership. Margit, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. A pleasure joining you in this side event and contributing to discussion on two partnerships that are supporting the SET plan. Thank you. So I would like to give you a bit of an overview where this partnership is at the moment, and then Hans-Günther will run through the panel and moderate this discussion. For those of you that might not be that familiar with JPI Urban Europe, and Philippe mentioned that in his welcome statement, there is something that we can build upon, right? So if we move on to the next one, please. There is a bit of an update of what we have achieved so far. We're not only building upon 20 countries that are participating in this network, and more than 40 agencies supporting and financing calls. We have published 2 research and innovation agendas. So as the CETP just presented theirs. We have published our last research agenda in spring 2019, which also forms the basis for the Driving Urban Transition Partnership, and we're now taking that further. In 2018-19, we also started in setting up a new sub-program, if you will, the Positive Energy Districts and Neighborhoods program, and also that is now a cornerstone of our partnership. But beyond that, we have launched 9 calls so far. 3 more calls are in the making. So there is plenty of projects, partners, beneficiaries that we can build upon. But we went beyond that already. It's not only calls that we launched in all the sequence of investments that have taken place. It's also about building a community, bringing together all the various stakeholders, not only the researchers. It's not only about creating knowledge, it's about shaping a community of research, science, policy makers, local initiatives, business, that really creates that our Urban Europe community. And through various activities, we try to enhance the impact. So we're building upon quite an evidence, and there are some conclusions that we have drawn before entering and shaping our partnership. If we continue, please. So one of the main conclusions is that we need to get much better in moving from words and theory into practice and action. This has also been taken up in the recently published UN Habitat World Cities report. We all over the place. It's not only in Europe, it's globally. We're not that good in really implementing all the strategies to achieve sustainability and the SDGs. So we need to step up our efforts. We need to move on into action. And in order to do so, it's not only about the what, it is the how is at least equally important. So the agendas are there, many technologies are there, many solutions are there, but the business models might still not be there. The cities, the society might not be ready to take up all these opportunities and really take the best out of that. So we need to understand how we need to move on, how transition will take place in order to exploit all these solutions, the technologies, the approaches much better than we do now. And that requires that we create shared visions and build a critical mass of good practice. So with the PAT program, we started that already, collecting many different cases that are ongoing already, but we need to take that further. We need to communicate that well and build upon all these experiments or the pilots, demonstration projects. There is so much going on out in all our countries. We need to take them beyond the pilot exercise. We need to take them up and integrate that in daily business, in our municipalities, in business, in all parts of society. So there need to be new requirements, new frameworks in order to be much better able to build on those pilot exercises. And that requires enhancing capacities, right? In municipalities, in the first place, in city administration, that they are able to take use of the very good solutions that are developed, that society is able to engage in these processes and understand what it means on their side. So dealing with all these complexities, with the dilemmas that might occur, we need to enhance these capacities. And the Driving Urban Transition Partnership is kind of ready to take up this challenge. If we move on, the vision that we have laid out for our partnership, if you look into the statement, it's not only about the research, right? This is on how can we make sure that all the research finds its way into practice, that we can take that up, that we build the capacities, the skills, the tools, the technologies, everything that is needed, not only in individual cases, but that we bring that to our cities in a much better way, that we translate the strategies that are there, that are agreed globally, that we take that into local action. So that's our ambition. That's what we want to build upon, our experiences, our instruments, our formats of JPI Urban Europe, and take that further. If we move on, please. The main challenges and the main objectives that we have laid out is, on the one hand, exactly doing that, building the capacities in the communities, which means that we need to engage city administration, real estate, utilities, all the various infrastructure providers. We need to bring all them together and co-design the program. It's not only then the funding in a call, it's really giving them a voice in shaping the program in the first place. And this is what has happened throughout the year in a couple of consultations and events. We also, the integrated approach was mentioned already, and it's relevant for the Clean Energy Transition Partnership and likewise for ours as well. So the urban complexity, tackle that in an integrated approach is quite a challenge in itself. And we're the only partnership in the whole list of partnerships for Horizon Europe that is addressing the urban scale as such, right? Bringing different sectors, different aspects of sustainable urban development together and trying to understand the different interests, the dilemmas in a challenge-driven way so that we can deal with the cross-sector issues, that we can go across the different silos of energy, mobility, economy, greening, whatever there might be. And the third issue is really exploit whatever we have achieved here. Bring this evidence, the knowledge, the good practice throughout Europe and beyond so that our neighborhoods can benefit, no matter if this is a small town or it's a metropolitan area. And that we can bring this experimentation and replication to our cities. Next one, please. So the way how we would like to do that in our thematic priorities, we have our research and innovation agenda. This is published and I will post the link in a minute so that you can download and read that. We now want to implement this research agenda in 3 main areas that Philippe Froissart already mentioned in the beginning. It's about the positive energy district and neighborhoods, an essential part of the SET plan, the SET plan action 3.2 that we're teaming up with here. But it's not only about the energy transition. We see similar issues in the mobility sector. So the 15-minute city, as we call it at the moment, looking into the transformation of the mobility system and how we deal with urban space is an essential one. And the third one, maybe bridging them somehow, is green urban economies, as we call it at the moment, connecting the circularity issue, how we redesign, how we use resources, how we redesign our business models, and connecting them also to the debate of how we take use of nature-based solutions, the greening of cities so that the quality of life is ensured. And of course, if you move on, we have already quite some priorities identified for the positive energy districts pillar. This is ongoing for nearly 2 years now. A first pilot call has been launched recently. A next call hopefully will come up soon. So the community is already engaged and can prepare, but we are preparing the next 2 or 3 years program. We have identified a set of fields for action together with city administration, together with the main actors that need to take the decisions and prepare their frameworks to really take use of new technological solutions, create the energy flexibility, take use of renewable energy production, but also what it means for the governance to ensure that positive energy districts are created, that people can engage, that we communicate that well, that we're looking into certification to really make it attractive for business to take up those issues. So very different actions that were identified and that we're now taking further. But beyond that, next one, please, we see what we want to exploit is the synergies between the 3 pillars that we have identified. And of course, there are many, right? When you look into positive energy districts, the dimension of mobility and the possible contribution or requirements for mobility are obvious. And with the 15-minute city pillar, I think there are good links that we can ensure that we exploit the positive energy districts well also in the mobility context and understand what mobility issues will be in the future in a very early stage for creating the paths. Likewise on the green urban economies, right? So the green blue infrastructure will play an important role for paths as well. there are new requirements or new potentials for circular business, for how we deal with material flows, how we ensure resource efficiency beyond energy efficiency. And all of that will be tackled in our partnership. Next one, please. But as said, it's not only about the what, it's likewise about the how. And we have identified a set of implementation measures that are currently negotiated with the participating countries and partners. It's the challenge-driven research and innovation that was mentioned already in the CETP panel. Yes, we are absolutely up to that. We are experimenting with challenge-driven formats for a while now, and we are ready to take it further. Living labs, place-based approaches, experimentation in our neighborhoods involving all our stakeholders is essential, and we are building upon more than 50 living labs that we have financed so far. We are ready to take this further to make sure that these living labs are not one-time experiments, but that they are much better embedded in a daily business of municipalities and city administration. And there are many more issues that we need to understand. How can we strengthen knowledge hubs across Europe and maybe beyond? That we build upon all the investments taking place in our countries and connecting those projects and results much better than we're doing now. It's about a continuous engagement of all the stakeholders in our Agora platform. It's about creating impact through synthesis, replication, understanding how we can support that. Still a matter, everyone is calling for that. There are very few models that seem, or rather no models that seem to work at the moment. International outreach, and of course cooperation with other partnerships as well. So this is in our portfolio, and we're discussing which of these issues we want to highlight and really put budgets in those measures for the partnership implementation. So with that, I think we're nearly there. Just a reference to what you can pick up and read from our consultations. If you move on, please. We had a consultation. Oh yeah, maybe one issue that just highlighting that, because there are many researchers online as well. There is something that you can look out for next year already, right? So our calls that we had are lining up towards the partnership, and there are a couple of calls expected to come for next year already. So you don't need to wait until we become operational by end of next year. Watch out, first calls are coming up early next year already, that will feed into and that will prepare our program for the partnership. And if you want to have a bit of a read to inform yourself about some details and the community perspective, next one please. There are consultation reports available, and you can download them from our website. There are regular events coming up in our lunch talks, and Agora events are planned for next year as well. So stay connected and get engaged in one of our events and be part of our community already now in the preparation of this partnership. So we are very much looking forward to the next phase when we really design the operational measures and hopefully can implement it full scale by end of next year. Thank you.
Good. Thank you very much for a very concise presentation of the goals and the scope of the Driving Urban Transitions Partnership. And move on to a panel of speakers from some of the countries which have been part of developing Urban Transitions Partnership. And those panelists are ready, those countries are ready to participate in our activities. They will share with us how they see specific benefits or challenges of the new partnership, but also how they intend to link their national research and innovation funding programs to this work. Now, without further ado, we'll come to our panel for Driving Urban Transitions, as I said, and we'll start with France, where our colleague Pierre Pacaud has been a valued partner and giver of input for our thematic discussions. Pierre, the floor is yours.
Yes, thank you, Hans Gunther. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, perhaps you know that the France is very want to participate to the city mission, and so I have a few words about the contribution of the DUT within this aspect of the city mission. Yes, so the city mission arises enthusiasm within the Commission and the Member States by raising the hope of a deeply transforming action for our European cities up to the required and very ambitious stakes aiming at carbon neutrality for the continent in 2050. And the mission is, of course, an initiative of deployment of 100 carbon neutral city pilots, but we must not forget that there are no universal solutions, while also reaching the expectation of the citizens and the sustainable development goals. So we need research and innovation for new solutions, and a European and I partnership is adapted to be the meeting point for actors to discuss issues and find these solutions. And that's why, and indeed, we share the feeling that DUT is the right structure to play this role of R&I player of the city mission. First of all, the form of a co-funded partnership allows an in-depth dialogue between the member states in collaboration with the commissions to clearly define goals that are perfectly suited to local contexts, while contributing with experiences of other European countries. We have enough flexibility to include actions in synergy with national initiatives. And then the DUT partnership has produced a strategic agenda and a program which clearly highlights the issues and the track for responses. The programs carried out within the framework of DUT will make it possible to put the national teams in contact with the best European teams and to increase their European networks. The global and transdisciplinary dimension of the mission is well developed in DUT. Participation in the DPI Urban Europe has helped France to outline responses to the challenges of the city, but we must go further in the implementation to bring knowledge to action, as mentioned Margit. Innovation actions are well identified in DUT around living labs in particular, and make it possible to work on concrete ground at the right time scale. And in addition, the teams rely on all the capitalized work of the GPI Urban Europe with all the tools and technical skills that they were able to apply. That's why the city mission and the DUT partnership with, of course, work program in the clusters in relation with to the sustainable city seems to us to be a coherent and synergistic role to meet these new challenges. Thank you.
Thank you, Pierre. We will now continue with a statement from Italy. Paolo Clerici is one of the vice chairs of the Set Plan Implementation Working Group on Smart Cities and Communities, and at the same time of the program on Positive Energy Districts, which was built out of the Implementation Working Group together with the JPI Urban Europe. Paola, would you please give us your views?
Thank you very much to everyone and for inviting me. Just a short sentence. I realize that we are pretty in a hurry. So the DUT partnership will address this complex set of urban challenges with an integrated approach to offer the decision maker in municipality the means to act and to enable the necessary urban transformation. This DUT partnership will create a portfolio of measures and a critical mass beyond joint calls to enhance its impact, build capacity in all stakeholders group, and offer problem owners a working arena. And this is the most important thing, I think, the working arena that the DUT partnership will be able to create. Indeed, cities are the place to address all these issues in an interrelated, effective way, making use of innovation and experimentation. All this calls for new capacity building in support of problem owners as an integrated and inclusive planning and development of our urban areas will need to consider the plurality of societal need as well as business opportunities. This complexity of interrelation demands revolutionary new approaches to address the issue, at hand sufficiently holistically to meet target and goals of sustainability strategies on various levels and to contribute to urban transition pathway at large. Then if we consider in which way our activity will participate somehow to Horizon Europe mission on climate neutral and smart cities, the PED program, as it is a mission-oriented transnational research and innovation funding program, has the ambition to realize a holistic implementation process towards 100 positive energy districts in Europe. A reference program has been designed in a consultation process which puts a focus on renewable energies, energy efficiency and energy flexibility. In this way, the PED program is fully aligned with the mission on climate neutral and smart cities. As the PED program has the ambition to realize a holistic implementation process to support transition, it will be possible to capitalize on the same holistic implementation process for deployment of mission on climate neutral cities. As the enabler of transition in the PED program are very much in line with those of the mission on climate neutral and smart cities, we think that our program will be a great support for cities in their quest to participate in the Horizon Europe mission and climate neutral and smart cities too. That's my statement. Thank you.
Thank you, Paula. We'll now have Rui Frazão from Portugal to share with us how his country could contribute to the new collaboration on getting our transition towards climate neutrality and sustainability going in the urban field. Rui, please take the floor.
More concerns energy and climate transition. So there is a very strong convergence. And we expect that this opportunity to work together make a very, very strong contribution to put these things more concretely.
Thank you very much, Rui. And that brings us to our last speaker in our panel. Last but not least, we have Mari Solerud, who will give us her views from Norway, but also her views as the chair of the governing board of the JPI Urban Europe. Mari, please go ahead.
Thank you, Hans-Günther. Do you hear and see me well?
Yes, please.
That's good. Okay, so I will shorten down my statement a bit, as you have all received it in the mail, so I guess you can read more about it there. I think that seen from the Research of Council of Norway, all the three pillars of the DUT partnership, the PED, the 15-minute city, and the pillar on green urban economy are well in line with Norway's research and innovation priorities. So in that sense, it will help us reach some of the most important goals of the Research Council of Norway's main strategy, which is to fund research and innovation for sustainability and green transition. The strength, but many would also say the challenge of this partnership, is that it links the efforts of many disciplines and types of actors to exploit the synergies of the new collaborations. This is a very ambitious task, but it's one that's shared by, of course, the UN SDGs and also by the Research Council of Norway, who is covering all the research topics and almost all types of RNI schemes. So this is something familiar to us. But I'm glad, that's why I'm so glad that JPI Urban Europe already has built a platform for the partnership. Working this way, having been a pioneer on this way of working for 10 years already, which makes this a lot more feasible. So being a partner of the Driving Urban Transition Partnership will also contribute to Norway's response to the Green Deal and our implementation of the SET plan, where the Clean Energy Transition Partnership works on the overall renewable energy system of tomorrow. The Driving Urban Transitions Partnership has a more place-based approach, responding to cities' need for capacity building and the fostering of solutions and implementation on the ground. It is in the interface between clean energy transition systems approach and the driving urban transitions place-based approach to urban energy that we will find the synergies between the two partnerships, collaborating and not competing. I guess that's a very short version of what I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mari. Norway, to my view, is a very impressive example of how a country can prepare for the transition towards a renewable energy system. Your cities are among the most advanced in Europe in this regard. We hope to see even more engagement from your side in this direction in the future. Now, we had planned a discussion with all of you who are on the listening side. However, due to the timing, we'll want to invite our Commission colleagues to give a bit of a feedback to what they've heard and to help us in taking back a summary of the whole event. And to start this, I would love to give the floor to Hélène Crey, head of the unit responsible for the SET plan and for the CET partnership. Hélène, the floor would be yours.
So thank you very much for that. It was a very interesting discussion. What I get, also to be very short, I will not enter into any details, but I will take back 2 main points. One is the mobilization and importance of the collaboration I have seen in their discussions. The second is an acute reinforced need to have collaboration and consultation and cooperation between the two partnerships. Of the clean energy transition are a little bit, they are covered in the clean energy transition partnership, but they are also having an input to the DUT. So it's critical that we ensure that there is no overlapping, but also that there are synergies between between the two partnerships. For that reason, maybe I take the example of the hydrogen, where we are setting up ways to coordinate and cooperate between partnerships and even between non-partnerships. Here, it will be very important to have a proper cooperation structure, maybe not formal, but working between the two partnerships. Because to be fair, what I heard on some part of DUT is the same I heard on some part of SET. And we have so few money at the EU level, and I think member states are in the same situation, that we need to build on possible synergies. So the next challenge will be the governance one, and seeing an efficient way to ensure this coordination, and I insist, not only coordination, but synergies to have a further impact. My just last point is to say that I'm extremely impressed by the quality of the things I have heard today, and by, again, the involvement of member states. I would like to thank you, all the people having been participated, and also, of course, thanks my team who has been supporting this partnership. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Hélène, and your points are well taken, and we are already, even in the preparation for this event, we've started our work of alignment and of ensuring a good interaction. Thank you again. Now, I would love to hear from Christos Fragakis, who is part of the lead unit D2 in Director General on Research. And Christos, would you please it's the lead unit on driving urban transitions, right? And Christos, would you please give us your...
Thanks very much, Hans-Günther. I'm very, very happy to see that the Commission's expectations for the DUT partnership very much coincide with the ones expressed so far by our panelists. We are equally convinced as they are that the DUT can play a critical role in mobilizing and empowering cities, municipalities, business, research institutes, stakeholders, and the citizens to engage in the necessary energy, sustainability, and climate neutrality transitions. This will enable Europe to fulfill its international commitments and meet the targets of the EU Green Deal, the Paris Agreement, the UN 2030 Sustainability Agenda, but also the Urban Agenda for the EU. We share very much the view expressed so far that the DUT strategic approach to focus on energy, mobility, nature-based solutions, circular economy, the circular economy sectors, but also their interfaces, and that's very, very important, will enable a better exploitation of the mutual benefits from these critical sectors and promote not only higher efficiency, higher energy and resource use efficiency, urban sustainability, resilience, and climate neutrality, but also very important co-benefits such as livability of the cities, quality of life in the cities, health of the citizens, and well-being of the citizens. Furthermore, we believe that the directionality that DUT gives to the European research and innovation will contribute to the consolidation of the European research area in the area of energy and urban sustainability transitions, will make European cities global role models in these areas. To my reading, the research and innovation agendas and the implementation plan of the DUT and the CET are rather distinct, but also mutually reinforcing. In this sense, they offer great opportunities for synergies, as it was mentioned also by Ellen, and cross-fertilization. But I'm very glad to see that both partnerships are well aware of the issues and the stakes, and are fully prepared to engage in continuous, open and transparent dialogues to identify synergies and to align their implementation plans as necessary in order to maximize their impact, both individually but also synergistically, and avoid duplication of efforts and waste of it. As it was mentioned by Ellen, ensuring coherence among the various European partnerships and relevant Horizon Europe missions, like, for example, the future climate neutral smart cities, is a priority for the European Commission and the Horizon Europe. We will be monitoring continuously the progress made by the various partnerships in capitalizing on opportunities for synergies. This is quite important for the Commission to maximize the impact of the European research and innovation to the implementation of the EU, national, regional, and local, but also international policies. In closing, I would like to wish great success to both partnerships, and I want to reassure you that the services of the European Commission are there to help wherever our help is needed, and we very much look forward to a very constructive collaboration with both of you over the years to come. Thank you, Hans-Günther.
Thank you very much, Christos. This is quite encouraging, and we do appreciate already now the very constructive work and feedback that you've given and done with us together in the recent past.
Thank you.
Last but not least, we'd like to have a representative of DG ENER, and I believe that this is Vincent again, who will give us the views, like the reflection on the presentations. Vincent, are you here?
Yeah, I'm here. Thank you very much. I've listened very carefully to all the speakers this morning. That was very interesting. I take away three main points. The first one, I heard several countries expressing a particular interest in one or the other areas of the two partnerships, but they've also expressed a very strong support for their integrated approach. So I trust that the two partnerships will contribute to the goals of the energy system integration strategy that the Commission adopted in July. But not only that, I think they will contribute to many of the strategies that we published recently, and I think in particular of the renovation wave communication that was published last month, and which aims at doubling the renovation rate of building by 2030. The second point is the fact that I heard this morning several countries emphasizing the value of the partnerships in aligning the research and innovation priorities and between the countries. And this, of course, to me is one of the main benefits, and it is very encouraging to see that they've already succeeded in mobilizing such a large budget for their implementation. And to me, that shows clearly that the two partnerships demonstrate that the work done in the set plan is paying off. And what is important is also to align the RNI priorities with the political priorities of the national energy and climate action plans, as well as the priorities expressed in the recovery and resilience plans. And I'm sure that we will have time to discuss about that in the set plan conference, which will start in a few minutes now. And the third and last takeaway, several speakers insisted on the importance to ensure a good collaboration between the two partnerships, but also the need to link with the mission on cities, the need to link with other partnerships and other programs. And I think that this is very important. My colleagues also mentioned that in their conclusion. I think in particular, coming from DG Energy, about the Build for People core program partner will adopt also a district-based approach. And I think also in particular of the LIFE program, which for the very first time in the next multi-annual financial framework will have a dedicated sub-program addressing the clean energy transition. So that would be important to make the link with that sub-program. To conclude, I would like to thank very much the organizers for putting such an interesting program together, and a very big thanks also to the countries and people who've taken the lead in the preparation of the two partnerships. I hope that they can start as soon as possible and convert into action the strategies that the Commission has put forward in the framework of the Green Deal to achieve climate neutrality by 2050. I'm convinced that by working together, we can make the Green Deal happen. Thank you very much. Thank you for this interesting presentation.
Thank you very much, Vincent. And thank you for your very positive and encouraging view to both partnerships. The European countries and collaboration with the European Commission. Now, this will close the end of our workshop today at our side event. And what I'd like to do now is hand back to Michael and Frederick for us together to give you like a brief outlook on what's happened while we were having our event in the chat, and also what will be next. Thank you very much. Michael, Frederick, please come forward.
Thank you, Hans-Günther, and thanks for this good collaboration in preparing this meeting. We will not go into the question and answer session now, because we really want to give you all the chance to have a lunch break and to prepare for the start of the set plan conference. The only thing that we want to do is to thank all the team that has supported the event, and I really would like to call up everyone from the team to quickly switch on their cameras so that you can be seen also from the audience. And while the team is doing that, I also would like to ask everyone from the CETP writing team that was busy with writing the SRIA over the last weeks, all that you are still there, please switch on your cameras and show us that you have contributed to this exercise. So not everyone is there anymore, and I see also the DUT people that have been active switching on. Please feel free to do that. It's just important to say all that we have been able to present today was only because there are so many people that are working on this. we were in the privileged situation to present this all on behalf of you with your support and with your help. Thanks also very much to all the colleagues from the European Commission, which are always there when we need support, when we need help, that spend time for meetings and preparations and give us feedback on the documents. At the end, this will become and has to be between all of us from member states and you from the European Commission, and it's great to work on this. Fredrik, something from your side at the end?
I think the last thing I want to add from my side is that when I see all the pictures, and I know there are still many missing that maybe have left, but this is what it's all about. It's about all the people and all of you that are contributing. And what we've done now is a bit of the start, but we will have a lot of work to do. And it's great to see so many faces with so much competence and commitment. So I'm looking forward to that work together with all of you.
By the way, we had more than 200 participants. I don't remember, 225 or something.
No, 257. Yeah.
57. Okay, 257. That also shows that there is a great interest from the programs, from the countries, but also from the stakeholders, and high expectations from all sides, I think.
Okay, thank you, Michael. Thank you, everyone, for joining today. Have a great lunch break. I hope you will have one. And much success to our German colleagues in taking forward the SET Plan conference. All the best, everyone, and bye-bye.
Thank you. Goodbye.